Hey, Kowalsky here. Welcome back to another video. Now in this video I want to cover the last two rounds of this tournament. I want to talk about what I won, and I also, I just want to present you these games because they are very hype. So this is the round 6 game. I play against an opponent rating I think 1909, and I play with the white pieces. And the thing is, right, I'm coming off 2 wins and a draw. So I kind of want to win this game, and I'm playing with the white pieces. This is my chance. So as usual, I play the move c4. I mean, I gotta do that. And here he plays the move e6. Now I didn't want to play the move d4 to go into this type of structures this early, although it's possible. I didn't want to run into no Bogo Indians or something like that where I'm forced to trade the bishop. I just wanted to play a move like knight f3, g3 first, and now knight f6, right, g3, and we have the classical Catalan now. Now the thing is, you can go bishop e7 here, bishop d2. This has been played a lot of times now. Bishop e7 is very popular at the top level, saying that this bishop is bad here, but also bishop takes, knight takes. Now white has a slight edge, so bishop e7, right? But I kind of knew about some games that were played, and by the way, here d4 kind of has to be played. There's bishop g2. This is a variation, but then you allow d4, and this is a completely different game that I really didn't want to play. So I played d4, bishop e7, bishop g2, and castles. So we have a super main line here. And now the thing is, my opponent plays the move c5, and I actually had the same position with black once, and I was trying to remember what my opponent played because I lost that game. I actually lost that game, and I wanted to remember what my opponent played in that game. And he played cd5. And the thing is, cd5 is the top move and is played usually in this position. But the thing is, after the move cd5, here there is ed5, and although in this position white is slightly better, black has these ideas with the bishop coming to e6 and defending the pawn. And I sat there at the board, thinking for like about 8 minutes, what can I do here, and I just didn't like this because I mean I was okay with the approach, but then I was like, okay, but maybe somehow he could do something like this. Then obviously that doesn't work because I just win a pawn and I get super active bishop. But I was like, I was considering all sorts of different lines with knight takes and now e4 and knight b6, and there's a lot to calculate, and I didn't want to play that type of a position. Now I wanted to play position with knight c3, and the knight c3 is not the most optimal move because you kind of want to get your knight into d2 to guard that c4 square or take the pawn, because now this move, while it allows dc4 and dc5, now you would say, oh, but why would you play this position and not the other position? The thing is, with queens off the board and with these pawns off the board, like let's just say, I mean, this might not be good, but let's just say we get into some sort of position like, I don't know, like this or something like that. The thing is, white is gonna be always better. I mean, look at my bishop. And I have this long time nagging pressure, and my bishops are just gonna be laser beaming from wherever I decide to put them, and then I'm just gonna expand, and slowly I'm gonna build up an advantage. That's how usually this position goes. I really wanted to get that type of an advantage. Now the thing is, while I kind of enjoy the prospects in this position, the thing is I also allowed this move. And now in the 2 top games that were played, white won in this position, but the white was much better. Like Ivanchu won a game with knight takes on d4, and that game, that game continued like e5, and now knight b3, and this I knew about this type of positions, but again, I would have played them, but my opponent here decides to go knight c6. And the thing is, here I took the pawn because this is like the top engine move, and you kind of have to play that. It's like really the only move now for advantage, because now if knight takes, now it's much better for white, because after e4 and you take the knight, you get this Grunfeld-esque structure. But I mean, just white gets the center, and I really like the position for white. I mean. So he didn't take with the knight here, he played e takes on d5, and now while d takes on c5 is still possible to leave him with the isolated pawn, here I spent like another 8 minutes, and again for these 3 moves here, for a3, cd5 and knight c3, I spent about 24 minutes. I was down half an hour at this point on the clock. And the thing is, my opponent plays c4 here, seemingly fast. So I knew about this idea, but I didn't know for sure whether it was the best idea or not, because I might have this move e4 in the future. Keep that in mind. So we have knight e5. I kind of had to take the center here. Also, I mean, this is the most popular move, but there are only like 9 games here. 4 of them featured this move. Bishop g5 is another approach that can be tried. Also, b3 has been played to undermine the position, sorry, the structure right away. But knight e5, definitely the most popular move. And now my opponent goes bishop e6, and there actually has been another game here in this position that I didn't know about. It was played in 1995 between two so at 2300 and 2200, Edward Greenspoon and Boris Blochstein. That game continued knight takes on c4, and that's the best move, because now d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, and I mean, white is just in better shape now. Basically, this pawn's kind of weak. So you know, keeping that in mind, I didn't know about this, and I didn't even look at that. So I played bishop g5. I saw a different approach here. So now this is like the first new move on move 11, and the thing is, now my opponent plays knight a5, kind of blundering. Well, you know, knights on the rim are dim, and I kind of get his idea to get knight b3. And here, you know, I could have played the move f4, just you know, keeping my knight at that outpost. And you know, my computer say I shouldn't be afraid of this move, because now I get the move f5. And now, okay, if takes, then okay, I get takes, and I get in, I get 2 pieces for the rook, so that's no good. But if you go bishop back, now simply rook b1, and white's much better. But okay, I mean this felt kind of risky. I didn't even consider this f4 f5 idea, and I just played queen c2, you know, trying to meet knight b3 with rook d1. So here apparently that one of the top moves is knight back to c6, but my opponent plays queen d6, continuing in the same spirit of the queenside expansion. But now this just allows rook a d1, and I mean the position is now just much better for white, because look at all this pressure in the center. And after this move, rook f d8, now it's my time to strike with the move f4 again. So look at the advantage that I built up, and I didn't even do anything special. I just played the position in a certain manner. And now f4 f5 is really strong, because this pawn is gonna be very weak, and the center is just gonna collapse in a few moves. But the thing is, I played the move e4 here, which is not the best move, because it allows d takes on e4, which apparently would have been the best move, and I considered that obviously. But here, what you have to do, you don't take the knight, because now you lose this, and I mean this position occurred in the game, but here apparently you go queen b6. I mean, this is a very weird move to spot, because you're going like, okay, and if takes, but then you're fine after g takes. I mean, I was kind of considering this, and now maybe a move like d5, you know, and like if you want to take this, then if you take this, then rook takes, bishop takes. Now this tactic, by the way, doesn't work, because queen takes, and if I take this, now he takes the knight, so that doesn't work. But here what would work would be knight g5, and now the thing is, once you take, now I take, and now it's much worse. Okay, so, and by the way, I'm threatening mate. So you know, here this would have been interesting, but my opponent decides to play knight takes on e4, and now I just go knight takes, and as you can see, I get the advantage. We get into the same position that occurred, and now apparently queen c3 to attack the knight is just winning. But you know, I decided to play the move rook e1, setting up some discoveries, and here queen d6, and now d5 is just completely crushing. But you know, I started to get a little bit scared here. D5, what about the queen takes? But no, just D takes C6. And I was like, oh, but maybe queen takes, no, just bishop takes B7. And I got here, you know, I calculated, but I didn't really want to, you know, I didn't really want to get into an endgame like this and then somehow lose this. I don't know how I suppose that I could have lost that one, but I don't know. I just went bishop back, and now this kind of allows knight back to c6 or bishop d5, but my opponent here plays move rook c8, which is not the most accurate move. Now d5, and now queen c3 would have been better, but queen a4 is fine. And here now I should play the move g4, because my opponent's threat is just f6, and he's kind of attacking the pawn with a lot of pieces, and my knight doesn't really have all that many squares. So g4 to attack the bishop, and then you know, and then just like have for example g4 to illustrate, like if bishop c8 for example, then I could just play h3, and f6 doesn't really work now because I get the move b4. I mean, it's more complicated than that, but here I played rook c1, and this move allows f6. Now keep in mind, I started blundering here because we were under time pressure. Like my opponent was about under 5 minutes, and I was like at 13-14 minutes at this point. And here f6, you know, for example, if I go knight f3, here he has this annoying move knight b3, and here I cannot even take because now he has the move b5. So here, you know, I would have to play like rook e8 check, like trade like this, now queen f8. And the thing is, if I trade queens, now I'm completely lost, because what am I doing? Like if I go to e1, he just takes the pawn, and that's it. I don't have no discoveries here. This doesn't really work because it's just rook d2. If I take this, it just, I mean, king g7, oh, king g7 allows a check, but king e7, and now, I mean, look, this position is just very bad for white. But my opponent, in a time trouble, he didn't really see f6, he played queen c7, which now gives back the game if I play the move queen b4, and I play the move queen b4. And now he plays the move f6, but now this is completely winning here after the move knight to c6. Why? Well, because if knight c6, then, okay, let's say rook c6, well, dc6, let's say knight c6, well, now I just take the pawn with check, and that's it, king g7, I mean, I can even take here, for example. And, I mean, he can try to hold this, but I'm up a pawn and the exchange, so, I mean, it's impossible. But here I play knight f3, and now the position, this is a complete blunder, and the position is now back in the balance after rook d takes on d5. But the game has a crazy ending. We have rook check in the back, and now here I get a lot of ideas in this position. I've actually analyzed, that's why arrows are present here and there. Here after king g7, I had the move knight g5. I mean, this is pretty crazy, but point is, you cannot take the knight, because obviously you lose the rook, and then you cannot even take the rook because mate. So here you would have to go for a move like knight c6, but then here there's this crazy line with bishop takes, now threatening mate. So you take, sorry, not mate, but check, and you know, once the king moves to h6, now you get this knight f7 check, and after king h5 you get bishop f3, and after bishop g4 only move, now you get a very insane move. Now rook g7, threatening mate in a few moves, obviously not right away, but if you're not careful, for example, if you play a move like I don't know, if you try to like just save your knight, like play this, I mean, now it's mate. So you have to take the bishop, and now after check, bishop king g4, a takes b4, and the thing is, this position is apparently a draw, because if you go back with the rook to c6, now apparently I have this move rook e1 or rook c3. But I mean, the material count is just crazy, and I mean, you know what? Who plays this? I mean, who plays this? This is such a stupid line. So obviously I didn't see that. I didn't really calculate it with a queen sack or anything. So here I just went rook c to e1, now seeing this check, and here, you know, here just knight c6, and I mean, my chances are over, because just, I mean, queen c3 for example, and that's it, just rook d3, and I get kicked out, and that's it. Or here, not even rook d, or maybe rook d3, I don't know. Also queen d6 is possible to come in with the forces. And the thing is, here, right, my opponent just had knight c6, but he was under a minute at this point. He played this move, and this allows the move knight d4, which threatens to take the bishop. And here my opponent plays a very massive mistake. He plays rook cd5, and now obviously you all see the mate in one. That is queen f8 check. And I mean, at the board it was like just wow. And at this point, but at this point he's kind of already losing. Like rook f7, we analyzed this position with rook f7, and here I was like, okay, I'm gonna take. He was like, okay, I'm gonna take with the rook, but I mean, just rook e7, and the position is much better. Maybe even the other rook is better here. So now you cannot take, of course, and the queen is threatened. But anyway, a nice game and a checkmate, a nice checkmate. And so now I was actually, like +1 because I won more games than I lost, obviously. And now we go into the final round. Final round of action has me playing with the black pieces against an opponent also above 1900. So very strong opponents that I played in this tournament. And here, so let's flip the board 1 second, and let's see it from my perspective. Here I played the Karo Khan. And I have looked at my opponent games and I've seen him play h4, and here I didn't want to go into h5, I wanted to play queen c8. This is a massive sideline, and I learned this from Levy, so I'm blaming him for this game. So he played the move bishop e2, now preparing this move, and here h6 obviously has to be played, but now g4 nonetheless. Here bishop g6, this is not the best move because you're allowing your opponent to play the move h5. But okay, my opponent played knight h3, a little bit of not standard move, e6, h5, and now I go bishop e4, f3, and bishop h7. So I have this position, and after the trade, this is equal. Well, why? Because look, after 11 moves, I have moved 4 of my pawns and my queen. Like, this is trash development. But look at my opponent's position. It's not like his position is much better. We just danced around with the bishop for 11 moves. So here I played the move c5. You have to play the move c5, and here you kind of have to take. But my opponent, he played c3, and it was like, okay, c takes d4. And the thing is, you cannot take the pawn with the pawn because this is hanging, and the rook is hanging. I mean, it's not hanging, but in a few moves it's gonna be hanging. Like, you cannot move the knight, the rook is pinned, and here like knight d2, for example, to defend. But now just bishop takes d2, and after king e2, just queen takes, and I mean, I'm up 6 points of material. Let's be honest, I'm winning. And here he took with the he didn't take with the queen, because if you take with the queen, then now I'll get knight c6, and I get easy development, queen e3, and the position is trash. The position is basically trash because this pawn is weak, and I don't have any problems here. So he went castles, the only good move. And now here I could have played d takes on c3, and after knight takes on c3, just went knight e7 and said, oh, I'm up a pawn. But I kind of got scared that he might get some counterplay on the c file. Also, his attack here seemed kind of big, but g5 is not scary apparently, because just h takes, and if knight takes, then simply rook takes on h5, and I'm fine. But I mean, it was a little bit scary, and again, it was pretty early in the game, and I didn't really want to go for this crazy line, so I wanted to play queen c4, and we traded. Now knight c6, bishop e3, castles, rook c1, and now I take the pawn. And here, obviously, this is not a blunder because the knight goes back. So we have knight c3, and this position is completely equal. I mean, the structure is symmetrical, and if there's anybody that has the advantage, it's white, because, let's be honest, white has much more active pieces. Here we have king b8. And the thing is, you have to go king b8 to unpin. Now I attack the e4 pawn, my opponent defends. And here, knight a5, knight g7 can be played, but here I mean, I failed to see a clear plan. I was like getting worried that his knight is gonna get in, and then when I'm gonna take it, he's gonna get all sorts of counterplay. And so I played g5, trying for something. This is still not losing. After h takes, here apparently f takes, bishop g3. Here you have to go g5 right away. I played the move bishop g7, which now loses because of the move knight f4. Now attacking the pawn. But the thing is, it was kind of hard for him to make this work, because for example knight takes, and now you have to play a move like rook e1, and here, you know, I can play a move like king a8, for example, getting out of the pin, and here apparently like the correct move was bishop h4. But like, who plays that? Because now g5 and what? Oh, you just take the pawn. And you know, what if I take your knight? Oh, you just take the bishop. So yes, this was possible. Obviously it was possible, but my opponent didn't really see that one because it was wild. So we have bishop g7, but now just rook e1, and now the position is back to the balance after the move g5. Now my opponent goes b4, and he kind of blunders the game after knight d4 and king g2. Now I play the move b5, and here after rook c5 I have I just have a great opportunity to just trap the rook. I mean, bishop f8, and now the rook is trapped, cannot go here. The best move is rook takes on b5 with check, and now knight takes on b5, knight takes on b5. And here I kind of don't want to take this pawn, because now rook b1, and there are going to be a lot of discoveries here. For example, knight d6 check, king a8, and maybe f4, and white gets counterplay. But here in this position, just rook d2 check and bishop f2. And so what? So what? 97, and I'm coming to the game and I'm winning. I mean, I was just winning. But here instead of bishop f8, for some reason, I played the move a6. Again, a little bit of time pressure, not time trouble. I should have played bishop f8 100% of the times. And now he just gets a winning advantage, just 94, and I'm just gonna get blown off the board in a second. Here, I mean, you know, he jumps the knight in, and I guard the fork, but now he attacks my knight, and here I lose my composure. This is a draw, but you're not gonna believe why it's a draw. I mean, you can pause the video and try to figure out why it's a draw. I played the first correct move, and here, you know, this is crazy. This is an only mover that I didn't see. I mean, again, you can pause the video trying to find out, but it's crazy, because the move here apparently is bishop takes on e5. I should have seen this whole tactical sequence. For example, rook takes on d5, ed5, rook e5, rook d6, and now knight e6, rook e6, rook e6 check, king b7, rook h6, and the game is a draw. What? Come on, who plays that? Who plays that? For real? Like, who plays that? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. Maybe a super grandmaster would have seen bishop takes on e5, but I didn't. And I played knight takes, and now the game is completely lost. I sacked the exchange, and here I take. Now e5 is a good attempt, but here, you know, I'm just in a lost endgame. And my opponent converts nicely. I mean, here I try to, you know, maybe if he, for some weird reasons, decide to check me, I don't know, up the board, and then go for like something like this, then I could have maybe gotten a draw here. I mean, this is a win, obviously, but my opponent would not have done that, and so he converted very nicely. Rook e6, and a couple of moves later, I just resigned. Because it's just losing. At this point it's losing, and I mean, it was losing for a long time, but you know, that was the game. I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. This was a little bit of a longer recap, but the games were very interesting and action-packed. And so I actually won this trophy here for the best player under 1600. It's not focusing. Okay. For the best player under 1600, I'm very proud of myself for winning this trophy. And you know, I actually got home some 60 euros. So you know, and I'm gonna make a video about how you can make money from chess in a little bit. But okay, I mean, hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a great tournament for me. So see you all in the next one. Kowalsky out.